Here this time bringing you my first impressions for Chained Echoes, a JRPG-inspired title that released last December, actually, and I've been a little slow to getting around to it, but it is one multiple people have been asking me about, and something I wanted to play for myself, so here we are finally. A remarkable thing to know about Chained Echoes right off the bat is that it was developed by a single person, or at least mostly one person. So with that in mind, let's actually jump into the rest of this. So first impressions-wise, I'd have to say the thing that sticks out to me the most is simply that much of the game seems to have made small tweaks to that classic JRPG formula that makes it a lot more approachable and kind of hammers out some of the rough edges of those games. For instance, we have more modern systems like fast travel, battles that simply take place where you are rather than having to load into a separate battle arena, things like that. But even more nuanced parts of it. For instance, there is no experience system, but rather, as you complete certain side quests, take on certain challenges, advance the main story, you'll receive what are called grimoire shards, which effectively act as your level up. Every time you get one, you'll be able to learn a new skill from a tier, unlocking more tiers as you unlock more and more skills, allowing you to customize a bit of what that character learns as they level up, so to speak. And every couple of shards, you'll actually get some passive increases to your stats, though eventually you'll be able to learn everything for one character. And I like that system because it does a good job of eliminating one of the major problems that JRPGs can run into, which is that grinding eliminates basically any challenge the game has. Though not even just grinding all the time, sometimes you can just do a little too much side content and suddenly the rest of the game is very easy. And while you can still certainly track those grimoire shards down to kind of do that, the way that they're spread out in this game does seem to make it a bit more of a balanced experience, at least in the initial parts here. Though on the flip side of that, it does keep a lot of those sort of classic approaches to these things. For instance, the initial part of the story, at the very least, is very classic JRPG. There's a continent with 3 different powers on it who are all at war. They've been at war for a long time. The prologue sees you taking control of what is effectively the main character, Glenn, who winds up triggering a giant mass weapon that goes off and kills tens of thousands of people, which triggers a sort of push for peace that ultimately falls apart. And that political drama is what draws our cast of characters together. But beyond that, even a lot of the other systems seem to just be small tweaks to that sort of classic formula. The turn-based battles themselves are relatively quick in nature, and it's mostly about managing your overdrive bar, where you'll use various abilities, skills, that kind of thing, and this will increase your overdrive bar, and you want to keep it in the green area, as there are several actions that will actually reduce the bar. But being in the green portion of that bar gives you more damage and more damage resistance, whereas going past it puts you into overheat, which sees you taking even more damage from enemies. But various ability types can reduce it. You can also swap characters out with the reserve character associated with them once you get your bigger party going. You can do that pretty freely, which sees you potentially using up to 8 characters in a single battle, with 4 being active at any time. But after battle, you are completely healed up, no need to rest, use healing items, etc., which gives you a lot of quality of life, so to speak, which eliminates a lot of the more tedium that tends to come with managing games like this. And then after a couple hours, once you step out into the wider world, you're presented with a variety of content. I know there's some hidden stuff and I haven't seen everything, but the game gives you a sort of quick tutorial about some of the things you can find out in the world, such as hidden items, unique monsters, much of which is managed through the reward board, which is simply a series of challenges divided by area. That will grant you various rewards for completing each individual challenge, but stringing those challenges together on the board gives you a chain which will give you even more rewards, such as grimoire shards or the sacred water. Sacred water is useful because you can use this at various statues to give you class emblems, which lets you further customize your characters, giving them both stat boosts as well as specific active and passive skills associated with that class, on top of their already unique by character abilities. And even beyond just that stuff, there are side quests to see, things to explore. I've already found a few optional areas even. In order to save some of it for the review, I'll simply say this. I'm enjoying it quite a bit here at the start, and much of the game aimed to change just small things about JRPGs that could be a little bit of a hassle. and because of that, it's a pretty enjoyable experience. That said though, over the course of the game, I'm curious to see if anything pops up that's particularly tedious, where the problems are, if there are any difficulty spikes associated with how these grimoire shards are doled out, things like that. But the world is interesting and I'm curious to see more. And with that in mind, average times for this game for 100% tend to be somewhere between 40 and 60 hours from what I can see. So I'll likely have this done within about a week. So you shouldn't have to wait too much longer to hear my thoughts on the rest of it. So if you enjoyed the video or you're looking forward to the review, by all means, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. But regardless of any of that, truly, thank you so much for watching. I really